I think it has happened again.
No, surely not. Welcome back
Oh,
No, I'm
is.
here.
It's happening.
Has
No,
it
it's
happened?
actually happening.
So we can't hear it.
He's
He's
lagging.
gone. Welcome back to the OPL, guys. I'm Spawn. Nick, your host, has lagged out. He said it could happen again. We will get him back in no time whatsoever. But Rusty, Order pick up a 2-0. One of the rare 2-0s of the season. What did you make of that game?
Yeah, actually, to me, that was a better game overall from Order. There was still some moments where, I think it's just an Order thing. They've got their advantages. They're going to push it as hard as they possibly can, and there are some punishes from any team they play against, from the bottom to the top of the table. But when they've got the lead, it always feels like they're in control, which I think is one of the better aspects of the way Order plays League of Legends.
Yeah, I think it's that fine line between trying to push a lead and close out a game versus, slowly accruing objectives. And Order seem to want to do two things at once a lot of the time, which certainly could come back to bite them. However, Nick has returned, so I'm going to stop hosting. Nick, it was a seamless transition. You would be so proud.
Oh, dude, I heard it just as we finished. This is your host, Spawn. It was a beautiful thing. Not a beautiful thing. I have no idea what's going on. My Ethernet just disconnects. I unplug, replug, it starts working. Victor,
I'm actually DDoSing you.
Come up to the beaches, man. Oh, right.
Because I want to.
It is. It's because you want the toilet paper. That's what it's actually about. Well done, Order. Well done. Of course, we are about to head into Gravitas versus PGG. A little note on PGG as well. I saw earlier on Twitter that their GM, Pete, actually tweeted out a throwdown, a challenge to the OPL and the amazing people of the OPL community. Nominate someone to grow a Mo for the rest of the split, the finals, and throughout the crisis. Let's see what great Mo's you can grow by the time we all re-emerge. Hashtag MoPL.
And here we go. I'll accept this. If they win this game, I will, on camera, if PGG win this game, they're about to play, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
If PGG win this game, I will, on camera, shave a mustache. That's what I'll commit to.
That is very exciting. See, I shaved yesterday. And I shaved a mustache in, and then I went, no, I won't have this because the owners won't like the fact that I have this on broadcast. And it turns out they're totally fine with it. Yeah, I'm down for this as well. But I'm definitely down for a live Jake shaving, and I think Twitch chat is. That's not breaking any TOS, is it?
I don't think so. I'll just go get a bowl, I'll go get a
mustache.
straight razor, and I'll just shave the rest of my beard off. And I'll leave the Mo. And I don't need a mirror because I'll just use the webcam.
This is very exciting. I mean, that's the kind of content you get at home. Rusty, are you in? Skimmy?
Yeah. I mean, I'll do it. I just want to make it known that I'm starting my online classes this coming week, so it'll be very weird to show up with a mustache randomly, because they only saw me once and I was clean shaven, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I'll do it. I don't care.
They don't need to see your face. You could just use the wombat picture.
I feel publicly humiliated right now, Nick. You see, I actually can't grow facial hair, so
yeah,
it's really cool that you guys are flexing that you're all men and I'm just a boy in this chat. But sometimes life comes at you like that. You just can't prepare for these situations.
Can I make a suggestion? What if we take all the hair that we shave off our here, to grow the mustache, and we send it to you? You wait 14 days to open the package, and then you paste it on your face.
It will be chucked in the garbage bin. It won't ever make it anywhere near me, I'm afraid.
So it's a hard no. All right. Before we jump into the fourth game of the day, a couple of quick questions from the chat. D. Kirk says, what makes a burger instead of it being a sandwich? Is it the bun, is it the meat, or the fillings? We need an answer. It's a good question. Jake, you're generally up on the food things. It's the patty?
It is the patty. So this is why it's a chicken sandwich. You cannot have a chicken burger.
Yeah. What about a fish burger?
A burger is... Yeah, you can't have a fish burger. It is a
what about
meat
a veggie
patty
burger?
Is what makes a burger a burger. No.
What about a tofu
veggie
burger?
patties, aren't they?
Nick, you've had the explanation. If you want to keep questioning, you can.
I'm just saying. All these things are burgers.
No, my understanding is none of those things are
What
burgers.
about a Beyond Burger?
Maybe. Because those look
go ahead.
close. I mean, in my understanding, if you mince a chicken fillet and make it
Yep.
into a burger patty,
Yep.
that would
Yep.
be a burger. But if you have a piece of breast chicken in between two pieces of bread, that is a chicken sandwich.
Yep.
So if you mince tofu, so actually you can have all these things as a burger, you just don't. The closest is a veggie burger. I would classify a veggie burger if all the veggies have been minced up, like chickpeas and stuff, and put into a burger patty as a burger.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
What about a schnitzel burger? Does that count?
No.
What is schnitzel? Isn't that minced chicken and then it's fried, or is that a piece of chicken?
It
I don't know
is
how
chicken
to-
that has generally been bashed down. Actually, so a schnitzel should never be chicken. A schnitzel should be veal. But if you are a Neanderthal and you have a chicken schnitzel, then it is chicken breast or thigh that's been pounded down, covered in eggs, and then covered in breadcrumbs. And then if you're good, you cover in egg, cover in breadcrumbs as well. You double crumb it, then you fry it.
Navuntian says to me it's the bun. I think I'm almost on board with the bun.
I'm so distracted by Twitch chat.
Sandwich and I put it in a sourdough bun, then I've made myself a sandwich burger.
No, so like
saying.
if you get a burger patty and you put it in between two pieces of bread, that's a burger. It's not the bun at all. Like there are places that serve burgers in English muffins. It doesn't make it a muffin.
Okay, I think you're losing this fight. I'm looking at Twitch chat. No one agrees.
I can't listen to Twitch chat during this, so I learned this yesterday. Just a quick aside. If I try and watch Twitch chat while I do these segments, I just get so angry.
Yep.
My face actually started turning red in one of them. I saw myself on camera. So Twitch chat, like, I don't want to hear it. I actually don't want to hear it this time.
If you put E-Gyms in the chat, if you put something in a muffin, it's called a muffin. Okay,
No!
so
if you put a
here's my
burger
question.
patty
That's
in
not
a
right.
muffin,
So are you saying I could put a burger patty between two shoes and what I have is a burger?
yes! As long as the shoes are carbohydrates.
Interesting. This is a controversial choice.
That's what you
Whereas
get.
if you put a shoe between two muffins, it's a muffin?
Yeah,
I hate
I
you
feel
all.
like is it
Like, honestly,
you
when
can't
is
have a
Champ
muffin
Select?
sandwich. That doesn't work.
When is Champ Select?
It's not for another 45 minutes, so just
How
settle in
long?
because we're going deep on burgers.
About a minute away. Okay, next question.
Everyone is basically saying Spawn needs to get out of the house. Okay.
I can't
we
get
did
out
that,
of
we
the
did
house.
that.
I'm a responsible human being, you degenerates. You need to stay in the house for 14 days.
Now that we've rolled them up nice and good, Jamesy V1D says, how many times have you thrown or broken something playing or coaching League of Legends? Also, my son may come in here in any second, so just be prepared for that.
Me, personally, or Rusty, because he also coached?
Both of you.
I don't think I threw or broke anything. Like, now I'm actively thinking about it. I don't think if I broke something, it was because I was coaching. It would have been I was a coach and something broke completely unrelated.
Yeah. Nick, I believe in a theory in life, and across all things. I am cool, I am calm, I am collected. Honestly, people describe me as these three things all the time. So obviously, I haven't broken or thrown anything because I always adhere to being cool, calm, and collected.
You
Coaching
just
is a war of
screamed at
words,
all of
though.
us about
So-
burgers.
Like, when you are coaching, you're very specifically trying to teach people through words.
I'm not. I'm an angry
with
coach
League as well.
I'm not going to lie. So, I mean, maybe this isn't like, I mean, my players will let you guys know whether it works or not. But every now, like, I am a very methodical, like, this is a process, do X, Y, and Z. And I'm very much like, I am an informative coach, like Rusty is trying to say. But if they just outright troll me, I will give them a spray. I am a traditional sports coach. And every now and again, you cop a spray.
Is that a spray of things that you throw to their faces?
No, I would
Okay,
never
good.
assault
Well,
anyone.
verbally.
That's bad. Yes. But
There you
verbally, you will, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, well, that filled enough time. It's time for Champ Select. Let's head into game number 3. It's Gravitas versus PGG. So I was going to say, like, who are we tipping to win this? But now we all have to tip PGG because if Spawn's going to shave himself next seg live on the broadcast, if Pentanet.gg win, Skimmy, it has to be a PGG victory, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I'd like to maybe extend this out to, you know, if Pentanet win, then maybe Sully should shave his off as well. I feel like it's fair.
Oh, right. Interesting.
Is that not fair?
It's like
I'm
they
sure Chat
swap.
agrees.
Yep. Okay, cool. All right, well,
Sully
we'll see
won't
what
do that.
happens. I don't think he will do that, but at least we've got some stakes heading into game number 4, Gravitas versus PGG. It's coming up with the Macca's Champ Select.
Feeling the heat? Grab a pineapple or pineberry frozen Fanta mix at Macca's. With 36 flavours, it's the largest range in Australia. Grab one for only $1. A little goes a long way at Macca's.
The race for 5th place charges on forward here. Pentanet currently sitting in that spot at 6 and 11 with Gravitas hot on their heels at 5 and 12 spawn. Once again, another big match in the Super Week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that as the season's getting towards a pointy end, Skimmy, these teams are actually all getting significantly better. And, you know, as a fan, if you can sit there and watch the games, you can actually see the coordination starting to come together. And I think Gravitas, maybe this week, has been the biggest improved team. So I'm really interested to see how they go up against Pentanet. Before you actually asked me the question, I was trying to find the standings. I don't know whether they're live on the OPL website, but I'm just checking them out. And these teams, like, daylight is between them. It's one game, I believe, between Pentanet.gg and the Gravitas lineup. And if Gravitas win this, they will be within this playoffs race well and truly going into the last Super Week.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll send it to you now, and you can have a quick look as it is happening as we like to see it. It is live and ready to rock and roll, and Pabu, he's going to do it. He's committing. He's been this new addition to the roster, a familiar face for them, but he is going to show us the Monkey King.
Yeah, and I think this is a great pickup for Pabu, because I would say that Pabu can play it, Suman can play it, and I would not be surprised to see if Praelis can play it, because they're all like kind of that style of champion, right? Skimmy, we talk about it all the time. This is a disruptive frontline that Gravitas kind of play around, and I think that is just a really brutal pick ban phase. If you have to ban Echo away from Praelis, and you leave up Wukong, who is largely regarded the strongest champion on the patch, you better have something really prepared for it.
That throws the spanner in the works now, because you are now, as you say, really threatening where are we playing these lanes. Kalista is now locked in, which we've seen be played in the top lane, being seen in the bot lane too. And Tarek to just compound that much further, that is a very scary engage. So much protection, so much peel.
It's actually just one of the best self-sufficient lanes down there in the bottom as well, because it gets really good push, and then after level 6 it's quite difficult to dive. Even before level 6, if you're a really good Tarek player, you can really block a lot of these engages. So I think that this is just further towards the style of the Gravitas lineup. You know, we want to set Pabu up for success. We want Puma and Trashly to be a little bit more self-sufficient. And I think that's what they're going to get. Unless we see something like a Cassiopeia or a Poppy, it's going to be very hard to shut down this Kalista in the mid game, where she really does range supreme. Obviously, she gets outscaled by every AD carry in the game, but for those 2 to 3 items, she is very, very strong.
Well, it makes it quite scary then if you're looking at these early objectives to try and control those. Pentanet Readiness says, look, we need to try and deny away more junglers here for Praelis, so adding to that list now is the Olaf as well. And they've drafted the aggressive bot lane that we've seen time and time again. A lot of it was seen in the games last night with the Misfortune and the Nautilus, but they are going to stick to traditional Ornn, so they've got that scaling component, and the response from Gravitas is also the same, target the jungle.
Yeah, absolutely. And Skimmy, before we get into this next phase of picks and bans, just something really important to point out in this playoff race. So Avant currently hold head-to-head against both Gravitas and Pentanet. So that means that Avant right now, if Pentanet lose this game, will be outright fifth and enter the playoff race. Now, whoever wins this game between Gravitas and Pentanet will win their head-to-head. They're currently 1-1 in their season series, which means that these games are kind of the 2-for-1 special, because if you finish a draw with Pentanet, you're obviously going to steal that spot. Yeah, Avant in a really good position at the moment, despite the fact they're not playing, because they hold head-to-head against both the teams. So in a 3-way tie, they would just advance straight through.
Yep, Avant are done for today, so you won't get to see them until next week. So I'm sure they'll be intently watching this, keen to sort of study up what their opponents are looking to gear towards. As we now get into the second rotation of the pick and ban phase, the final bans once again still hovering towards those junglers. We've seen a very big preference towards Kindred and Karthus. The response is deny hard engage. We don't want to deal with the Jarvan, and you can imagine why, right? You know, so much protection once again with these 3 initial picks that Gravitas have opted towards.
Yeah, certainly. However, Sully once again going back towards this Lee Sin, and we've been quite critical of it. You know, something like the Gragas would have been available. However, probably would have given them too much magic damage on the top side of Summoner's Rift. And we are actually going to see a final pick set. This champion seems so strong still, Skimmy, that it's just falling through pick ban phases at random intervals at the moment. I really like Gravitas' comp. They have a full dive comp with a Taric. They have just spades of backline accents. This is honestly Taric's dream. Now, I think that they get outscaled so severely if this is going to be a Corki lock-in. You have Corki, Miss Fortune, going to be running around with ornaments. You also have Nautilus, one of the best late-game supports. I think Taric will maybe outscale in teamfights, so if it's paid perfectly by Trashly. But this is 2 very conflicting styles. I would say Pentanet probably want to avoid the teamfights at the start of the game, whereas this Gravitas lineup, they just want to go hammer and tongs.
Well, Gravitas have held their cards, and we're going to finally settle on a Prayless Jungle Wukong. Going to get to see the influence of that being played from a ganking perspective as opposed to just the laning standpoint. And a little tidbit, a little known fact here, from the last 8 games that Sully has played, 5 of those have been on this Lee Sin. So the guy's been putting in a lot of work, and this is something that you've discussed in the past, I believe at the start of the split, of like, you know, this is a new champion he's picked up into his roster, and definitely sitting at it of like, I need to really get this as a comfortable pick for me to flex out.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is kind of where the criticism of Sully was as an amateur jungler. He's very resource heavy, likes to take away farm, likes to ensure that he has his own individual lead. Lee Sin is one of those champions that you really want to play for the team's lead. And he's really good utility. He's really good early game skirmish. So that's been the evolution of Sully, in my opinion. He is trying to become more of that gank-centric team playing jungler. I think Lee Sin is one of those better champs to be able to go towards that style. And whilst I kind of like seeing it, at this stage of the game, I also just want to see teams play comfort. I do feel he's a little bit more comfortable on the likes of Nidalee, on the likes of the Karthus pickup. So a little bit torn here, Skimmy, but has been able to make it work in the past.
I'm curious to see really the strategy that they deploy to try and stem what is a very scary lineup that Gravitas have brought to the table here. Another fact about these 2 rosters, Pentanet, from the games they played so far in this split, they are the ones to get the first tower 65% of the time, compared to Gravitas only 25% of the time. And we've seen that time and time again, level 2 dives as a Karthus to say, look, I'm not afraid to fall behind and be known as this, quote unquote power jungler, just to try and get my team online. And this narrative has always been get Praedyth, the resources, make him do the job, and we can win. But there's a lot of action to try and get into Praedyth's face and really slow him down and make sure that he can't just tower it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Praedyth has been really good on the 2 best AD carries on the patch, right? When he's on Miss Fortune or Aphelios, and the team is going to play around him, he looks great. What we saw yesterday is actually on the Ezreal, and I think you pointed it out, Skimmy, that he seemed to be moving towards his side laners a little bit more. That meant they were getting caught out a little bit in rotation, that they were losing a couple of these skirmishes. And it's definitely not what we're used to seeing around pentanet.gg. If Praedyth's in the top lane, you expect the mid trio to move towards his top lane turret, try and give him plates. If in the mid lane, you expect Biopanther and Get Back to be collapsing around that portion of the map. However, you really did a great job of just highlighting how mobile he was trying to be. And I think that that is certainly maybe a new area that they're looking to play around, but it's certainly an area that hurt them in yesterday's game.
I suppose really what I'm curious on in this game is with what Gravitas have drafted, and you talk about them having some really strong power spikes very early on, is there a world in which Pentanet, being known as this very late, slow, methodical team, can reach that point where maybe they potentially outscale and are able to turn the tide of this match?
Yeah, I would say that's absolutely the case. Kalista doesn't build crit, so if she has free range, free hitting, free mobility, she does have kind of that infinite damage. But if she gets like Nautilus ulted, shot by Misfortune once, she is going to lose 3/4 of her health late game, especially given the fact that the MF is going to have an additional item through the ornament. Then you have a look at the fact that they're also playing things like LeBlanc, who, if is played very well at 2 or 3 items, is incredibly strong, but at 6 items shouldn't be able to go with the control mages in the mid lane. So I think that there are windows for them to get towards that super late game. They're going to have 2 Infinity Edge users versus no Infinity Edge users. But I think that, it is a much easier comp on the side of Gravitas to play. Taric ult everyone. boys, let's get in there. Let's fight. Let's try and take a 25-minute Baron. Let's get this steam rolling. We've seen mid-game League of Legends is much better at the moment. So I think that in the OPL, you need to stop trying to play like the LCK. You need to go back to playing like the NALCS or the LPL. You need to play a little bit more skirmish heavy. Even like the LEC is getting towards that skirmish heavy style as well. And I think that Gravitas are really embracing the chaos this weekend.
Yeah, I'm quite excited to see exactly what they do. Obviously, showcasing us multiple different versions of them. There's a small pause at the moment, guys, so we will be jumping into the rest very shortly. But in the meantime, we will keep you up to date, obviously, with what the draft was and sort of some win conditions to look out for. And I think, you talk about Taric, obviously, so many melee champions, so easy for him to really connect as many people as possible in that Cosmic Radiance to find value. If they can get a good read on how these team fights are going, I think Trashly can, definitely solo carry his team to victory with what is available to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, like the three important champions, right, have really great gap close. When you have a look at how Set accesses a fight, LeBlanc accesses a fight, as well as Wukong, all of them are going to use that Bastion and Taric stun like incredibly well. So it means that Trashly's champion is going to find even further value. It also makes sense when you play Taric that you kind of want two groups. You want the Taric group where generally the AD carry and the control mage sit, and then you want the diving group that's going in together because then you get all five. Taric does struggle with team comps that fan out. I think Order played him once with a fan out team comp and didn't really get all that much value from it. So I like this for a Taric comp. You would say like some of the best divers in the game, aside from Nocturne in this. And I really hope to see Trashly play well.
Well, let's see what we do get on our cards as we're going to jump to a quick break and get ourselves geared up for this game between Gravitas and Pentanet.
This harvest will guide us through dangerous night. It humbles the foe with its grace. The thorn mail will help us prevail and survive. Our deadliest fate we embrace.
It's our fourth game of the day as Gravitas take on Pentanet.gg, a game which they will desperately need to win after a disappointing set of results last night. But Gravitas have been the welcome upset, really, with the return of Pabu. They have definitely made a name for themselves in week number 9 here at Spawn.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been able to pick up that win versus the Direwolves. Unfortunately, fell down earlier against the Chiefs Esports Club. But I feel like their gameplay is what has been impressive so far. They've been much willing to take some risks, much willing to play an action-style game of League of Legends. And that generally has been what has won the OPL in years gone by, Skinny.
Well, we'll look to see if they decide to bust out any crazy shenanigans again in the early game there. Gravitas, or Seaman in particular, unlucky to cancel the recall there on Sully, who's looking to do the classic drop a ward, go back for the sweeper start. But we will be obviously keeping our eyes intently fixated on how Sully is able to influence this game, given the fact that he is so persistent on always drafting this Lee Sin.
And I always get so uncertain about this because this is a really nice start right now. Everyone got experience for that ward, means that level 2 is going to be achieved on, I hate Corgi or whatever it's called, so don't talk to me about it. Anyway, level 2 is going to be achieved on the first wave. However, now he doesn't have access to one of his best ganking tools, which is a ward hop in the early game. So if you ever play in your minion wave, obviously you can use a creep to ward hop to. You can ward hop to a champion. That also gives him the added benefit for a shield. As this is cheeky, Skimmy. Did you see what they just did?
I missed it.
They use a little bit of mana and take one slap off that creep. So now you're like, okay, where did the Lee Sin start? Did he start on the top side where I think he started? Or did he start bottom side? Because Rogue is missing mana and missing a skerrick of HP. Obviously, it can mean nothing, but it is the little question marks that can be raised in the early game that will keep people guessing. Sully also, really interesting jungle path. Just want to hit on it quickly. Has gone buff to buff. Normally junglers don't do this. It's a pretty inefficient way. You spend a lot of your time running across the map as opposed to farming up camps. And you can see that he's going to be 2 to 3 camps at this stage. But it does mean that you can maybe get an invade earlier in the game than you would have been otherwise able to. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case as Prayless will avoid that ward and start up his red buff pretty peacefully.
Interesting start to this game here from Pentanet.gg. We'll have to see how this actually translates into anything. And it's going to be a wall dropped earlier there by Get Back, which allows Sully to go for the rotate. Either down into try or potentially to knock on Prayless.
Here we go, flash in.
They are indeed going to flash on in, going to find the route with the passive of Nautilus. Flash to disengage on out as Sully looks to try and get the kill, which he does connect on with, dashing away to an ally, finding first blood 3 minutes in. Pentanet finds success.
Terrific play from Sully there. And if you are a new jungler, go back and watch how he played that. He did not throw skill shots until he absolutely had to. And he had registered already the red buff slow as well as the E slow. So that's beautifully played by Sully. Ensures that a kill is going to be picked up. Gets that bottom lane, which I said could be an area that Gravitas looked to play through ahead early. They also had already ensured that there was going to be a freeze because the wave's slightly pushing. Honestly, everything going right.
It's a great start for Pentanet so far. Definitely want to see them find these levels of success so that the overwhelming pressure that this Gravitas composition presents isn't able to just get in your face and intimidate you before the team fight's even started. So, let's see.
Yeah, and I want to talk about this mid lane a little bit as well, because Corki historically was seen as a good counterpick to the LeBlanc. First, you would build something like the Hex Drinker, then it was found out you can just go Merc trades. Nowadays, hold the thought,
Sully is here in bot lane again. Out goes the Dazzle to disengage with the stun, but the members are chasing. Will go for the hook. He finds her on towards Tarek. Puma very low. Flash forward from Praetor to secure the kill. One more auto will do it, or will it not? It will find in the end, and Tarek nowhere to protect. Every summoner burnt. Bot lane in trouble.
And that freeze is still going to be there. So you can see the benefit of this Nautilus. We said that Kalista can be a big problem, but at this stage of the game, she's so far behind already. She's going to be down in experience. She's going to be down in that gold as well. Meanwhile, the solo lanes are going okay, especially that top lane where Pabu is doing a great job. But you can see Pentanet.gg's game plan is very simple. Just continue to camp the bottom side of the map.
Definitely get Praetor online. It almost feels from my, I suppose, small vision of this roster, almost like the days of old, right? Like the funnel into the ADC, almost very reminiscent of old school double lift style.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see that Praelis, why are they both in the same game, Skimmy?
I know, it actually confused me before. I nearly said it.
You want to play around. So we mentioned like kind of that they looked like they were going to go away from that, and I said it was a weakness, right? And you kind of agreed in the Champions. Like we had talked about it already yesterday, but this guy is so much of what is good about Pentanet.gg, and I think Rogue is also a big voice on the team. So why would you not play this game style if you allow it? Why would you not allow BioPanther, your tank player, to play a hard tank? Why would you not play heavily around the bottom side of Summoner's Rift? Yeah. If that is a style that presents itself, and this game certainly has been successful so far.
Definitely has. And Puma will be able to find himself back in contention with that CS lead, but the early game advantage that was really brought online by Sully's influences allowed them to find the first Drake and really navigate this early game with a sense of pride.
Yeah, and because it is only 6 minutes into the game, we're going to go into a lull state, as they like to call it, in the LCK. Bottom lane finally should start to shove out. Actually, no, it's not. It's still hard frozen. So there is an opportunity for one more gank, maybe, with how much vision control is in the bottom lane. But what I wanted to ask, really quickly, Skimmy, is we've both been on the coffees today. Right?
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, like, how are you just an instant coffee man in this time of crisis? Are you a big coffee drinker normally? Like, what is your cup of coffee like?
No, because so this is actually funny because I wasn't really ever a big coffee fan. I'd usually, be your basic man, go to Starbucks, for instance, and get it there. But in this time of crisis, my girlfriend gave me these Korean coffee sachets, and I'm hooked on those. But generally speaking, coffee, it makes me so anxious. It gets me so wired. I'm so energetic by default, so I don't need much to push me over the edge.
Okay, because the reason I bring it up, and obviously not here to defend himself, but Nick was telling me that he could not go without, that espresso, that high-end cup of coffee. So he's. But
what else do you expect from a man that owns IKEA?
Yeah, so he's gone out during this time and he's bought himself a bloody coffee machine, which I think is great. Like, more power to him. I'm going to go over there for a cup of coffee, maybe get on a flight tomorrow and try and secure myself a cup. But it is
he's
very
in Twitch
interesting.
chat right now. He hates you, apparently.
Okay.
I hate Spawn so much.
I'm more of a percolator man myself, so I have hold the thought. Stun will register. Hook is on.
Will follow. That's not bad. Pentanet going to find the aggression right here. Puma zoned away already. Ignite. Taking him down, and Tragedy going to be in the receiving end. Whichever target they decide to go for will die, will fall on down, but 6 is the big decider, and it's this man again. The mustache is really putting in work.
Yeah, he certainly is, and I mean, that's what a BF to a longsword looks like, Skimmy. It looked like a great trade, done onto 2 people, taking a little bit of the creep wave, but because Predator has himself a BF sword, and because Puma only has himself a longsword, that's a disaster. Meanwhile, the collapse is now coming in finally. Human here.
This is fantastic by Gravitas. It just took too long for Pentanet to try and find that window to collapse upon. The opportunity passes itself, and Gravitas do get a response with a kill on the board for themselves now.
However, whilst Human does get a small advantage for that, you would still favour the 2 turret plates going across to your 80 carry, who is so greatly accelerated, I think, at this stage of the game. Also, the fact that they took a plate mid, there is just more map pressure being gained right now by Pentanet.gg, and you can see that they also have themselves an 1,000 gold lead. So that means that at this stage of the game, Gravitas are really relying heavily on Parbu still. He is going the split pushing build. I think we saw this out of Swiper, and he said the build sucked. On Twitter, he said he kind of trolled that game, but you can see gold-wise, 80 carries, a big lead right now. Junglers, 400 gold, about that kill that you see in top lane, heavily in favour of Parbu.
Absolutely, and he's not going to actually go back. He's going to stick around here, chilling in the alcove. I don't know if the Riptide actually spotted him out. The vision will finally, obviously, with that ward, and Get Back is now fighting a bit of damage as LeBlanc lets him know what can be done. But this will be the first really window of Praelis, right? It's been a quiet game for the Wukong.
Yeah, it certainly has, but what he's been doing really well is he's farmed up a Storm, and that's actually given him the level 6 lead. So as soon as Lee Sin sees him, despite the fact that he's got Warrior finish, he says, I can't duel a level 6 Wukong at this stage in the game, so we actually have to get off this turret. Now, the reason that's a big deal is because if they were still bottom lane, they would take this turret right here, right now, with the misfortune, but because it's just Ornn down here, he hasn't even taken Demolish, it looks like, Skimmy. He's just going to be a lonely Ornn whacking away with his hammer. And definitely not the play Pensanet.gg were looking for.
I'm sure Bio's smiling despite everything.
Oh, here we go.
He's
Wukong
a
coming
happy
into this
man.
lane. Pabu's still here.
He's hiding.
Can he get the dunk?
This would be a fantastic kill. Obviously, Praedyth is very susceptible to the mobility. It's going to force a flash out of him straight away. Rogue going to use that depth charge to survive and try and buy some peel. But the
Still
double
has the
ult
ulti.
charge, the spin to win will do the damage and slam dunks them in with the extra bonus HP. They find the kill. Praedyth zoned away with LeBlanc hungry on the chase.
And now they're going to get first turret off the back end of that skimmy. You can see that they are so comfortable playing around the top side of their map at the moment. Pabu and Praelis, the old partners in crime, putting a number first on Biopanther, and now the one area that was hard winning for the Pensanet.gg lineup in the bottom lane has also been shut down. And Pabu is just a monster. Look how far ahead of anyone else on Summoner's Rift he is.
Definitely it has been the talking point for this team. The second headbutt will go across as well, and that is just so much damage to open up that top lane. I'm sure Bio will be content. Obviously, he realizes how strong he is as a champion to assist this team, and Sully will say, look, you can take that Herald. I have my eyes fixated on these dragons. Let's get the second one. Let's get some souls. Let's play for the late game.
Yeah, and I think, that's got to be the talking point now. You know what? We had a great early game. It maybe bought us an additional dragon from what we would have already had. We've just traded a dragon for a top lane turret. Not the best trade, but you know what? We've stacked up two now. We've got the Air Drake coming up and available, going to help out champions like Corki, like the Misfortune to know. And so let's just, put a hold on this game. Let's not interact until 25 minutes. Continue to bounce farm, continue to trade. That used to be Pensanet.gg's MO, Skimmy. They were so good at just making you chase them around Summoner's Rift. I want to see them get back to that in this game. Not
There was a
with
time,
any of
right?
these fights.
Well, we coined them as the team that liked to play late game, and not to put them down, but almost like bore you out of a victory because they just take so long to get on up and run you around the map and never allow you to have that dream team fight, which you're so desperate to find. But yeah, every single time they get a chance, they are always going to that top lane, letting these members know that there's always a looming presence. And Blade of the Rune King is now complete. The set should be scary.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I think about Pentanet, I think of two things straight away. I think of either how well they're coached by Western Way and what you're talking about, that bore you to death strategy, that, continue to chip away at structures, take away jungle camps, really play that macro style of game. And the other thing you think about is how well drilled they are on the set play comps, like the Talia Pantheon, like the 4-man dives bottom lane that they nearly took Direwolves down with in, I think, week 4. So there is really two different game plans that they have. But when you look at this draft, this looks at the long, drawn-out, bore you to death kind of draft, scaling in spades everywhere. So let's see if this team is slumping so hard that they can't even go back to that kind of playstyle. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, bit of a gank onto Pabu.
It is indeed. They're going to start off with the Blade to give them that movement speed to run away. 4-man collapse is coming with Praedyth taking a very wide angle to prevent any sort of
Rogue's
disengage. Rogue is in so much trouble. The stopwatch will be good. That'll juggle the aggro. Now Pabu's in a situation of how do I get out of this one? No summoners. No chance to disengage there.
Okay, well played by Rogue. I didn't think he would be willing to burn himself a stopwatch for that, because I think that they could have just traded 1-for-1. He could have kept the all-important cooldown. If he has himself the stone plate right now, it doesn't matter anyway. And this means Praedyth is going to be able to take himself a turret. You look how fluid they are on the map as well. Get Back knows that this top lane tier 2, whilst turret plates are available, not really all that much of a big deal. So instead, he will guard the mid lane turret, stop that one from being pushed down. This is what I mean when I say this team is well drilled in a macro sense. Praedyth going to start checking brushes. Praedyth has to run. I got them right this time. Probably first and last time of the game that I actually get those player names correct.
On top lane, it was exposed before, even more so now. How do they utilize that split pushing pressure? Are they going to send a little LeBlanc there? Are they going to keep Pabu up there to really have that dueling potential with what he's itemized towards now? Of the Phage in his arsenal, whether he's going to go for the Black Cleaver or the Trinity Forces to complete the I will carry and I will do damage. Very squishy
Yeah,
if
I
he
would
goes
say
route.
that you probably want to keep LeBlanc up there, because she's probably much better at actually pressuring in that long lane. That is the top side of the map. She has genuine kill threat right now because there is no magic resistance on this Corki, and she's got herself not only a completed Luden's Echo, but also a needlessly large rod. What that tells me is that Suman thinks that they're going to start stacking MR quite soon, despite the fact that he is the only magic dealer on his team. Maybe going to look for, Death Cap into Void Staff, one of the earlier builds on any mage. People should be familiar with it. It is the highest damage once you get all 3 items, but kind of not as efficient until that point in the game. And I think that right now he has genuine pop potential on everyone apart from maybe Biopanther on Summoner's Rift. Also, the fact that he's 3 levels above Sully and Praedyth means that they probably can't go near him anytime soon.
Yeah, that's definitely a scary LeBlanc. But Corky's definitely been putting on work as well. Get back, hitting that major power spike to start off with the Trinity Force. And Praedyth definitely leaps and bounds ahead of Puma, who's still searching for that first completed item.
Yeah, and the thing about Get Back is he is really strong right now, as you pointed out. But his spike comes much later in this game. He's going to be looking at, the 2-3 item power spike. If you go something like Infinity Edge into Essence Reaver, or, maybe Essence Reaver Rapid Fire Cannon, you can see he already does the damage into Pabu, who is this squishy build that we've been talking about, the squishy split pushing build, not the team fight build that we're used to seeing. But the reason it is more pertinent to LeBlanc right now is she is at the stage of the game where she needs to be able to win the game. She needs to be able to carry. Get Back has the next 35 minutes to be able to do that.
Well, the time is on. The clock is ticking. With level 11 obviously online, that second upgrade to the ultimate, that damage will be definitely online for them to utilize. We've yet to see the wombo combo that this composition can present. 2 Drakes have been easily achieved so far by PGG. It's now showing that there are potentially signs here for Gravitas to contest themselves with a Rift Herald in pocket.
Trashly's been hooked.
There has indeed. Steiner's going to land. Rogue's in a lot of trouble. Cosmic Radiance goes out very early on with 3 members connecting on towards her. Biopanther going to knock members away, and Praedyth goes in with a double stun, just knocking up everybody as LeBlanc finds the kill. Instantly onto Praedyth. He uses the flash, but even then can't survive, and an ignite! As Sully dashes away to the blue buff to try and survive with a smite. It's not enough. That's the best ticket that Gravitas have to get themselves back in here.
Yeah, and the snowball has been stopped. However, I do not think that was the team fight that Pentanet.gg should have been looking at. We just went through how strong this Gravitas lineup is at this stage of the game. Just nullify that. Collect the big, juicy top lane wave. Maybe try and take yourself a top lane turret and all of the jungle camps up there. They had the ability to make this map big, and we talk about that a lot when we talk about teams like the Direwolves, but they chose to make it very, very small. Look for that 5v5 team fight, and it just did not go their way.
Blue buff on this LeBlanc as well, and you talk about him needing to make an impact. Definitely did, sitting at 3-0 now with those items online. Definitely hitting that major stride in this game to get himself and the rest of the team in a position that they feel quite comfortable with.
I mean, this is how Human loves to play League of Legends, right? He's a huge assassin player. He's sneaky. He looks for the flanks. He's a good team fighter. Just everything that we've been kind of talking about with him. Didn't get shut down in the landing phase. He is negative 20 CS, but he got counterpicked. So I think that, you would accept this. And he's just gone back and bought himself a rather nice hat. And I was saying that you should wear a hat more often, Skimmy, at the start of this day. Well, Human's hat is very, very fashionable at the moment. And puts him at a place of power like you would not believe.
If it was scary before, well, yeah, it's going to be a situation where Praedyth is terrified, quite honestly. Without that flash available, doesn't really have the most protection in the sense of, a heal or anything to rely on. He's quite really reliant on the fact of a Lee Sin shield and just a protection of the peel that these bruises, these front lines can offer. So if that doesn't connect, Praedyth has free run of the map just to jump in there with the ultimate like he did before, and just so much pressure for him to try and navigate through.
I would say that really you're relying on Rogue to be able to bodyguard you, right? Just stand in front of you, be able to hook the Wukong out of his dash or hook LeBlanc out of her distortion. You really need a bodyguard in this. And also a really great Biopanther ult to be able to maybe collect the other diver. So Rogue gets one, Biopanther gets the other one, Praedyth nice and safe. The other way that you get peel if you're Praedyth is if Get Back continues to accrue a lot of items, because then all of a sudden you're not the primary focus, mate. There's this Corky who's 3 levels higher than you, who has a lot of these items as well, starting to scale up, and they're saying, you know what, maybe Praedyth has to dive onto the Corky, maybe Pabu has to go for Corky, and you get a cheeky ultimate in one of these fights and torch your team. So I think that, there is ways for Praedyth to be able to play, but you're right. At the moment, the monkey in Summer Rift, Praedyth is such a high threat that they need to be very aware of Praetor's position.
To see how Get Back continues in this trend now with the Hex Drinker and those Sork Shoes, so continues to ramp on up. The more obviously being a major power spike there with the component it offers, Spell Vamp and the rest. But the Herald will be spawned now, and it's in mid lane where Praetor will utilize that bullet time very early on and instantly has to cancel that one short because, well, I tell you, Praetor jumps in with the ultimate and Trashly with the Dazzle ready to lock a member in place.
But did Praelis just misclick there? Did he mean to dash in on top of the Misfortune and then use the ultimate? Because it looked like he kind of ultied in space. Just a little bit too long. Obviously, it's not immediately dashable as well, Skimmy. So you have to be quite aware of the timing in which you're using that ultimate. I also think, fighting without your LeBlanc there at this stage of the game is a risk. So they won't be able to get down mid lane turret. They do get a charge, but unsuccessful in picking up any of that additional gold. And is only a 1,000 gold lead. And as Ornn is creeping towards, that 13, 14, 15 mark in this game, 1,000 gold lead versus a Corki against an Ornn, against a Misfortune, probably not going to be enough for you to feel comfortable with Gravitas. They need to do more.
We need to see what happens with 60 seconds on that second Cloud Drake. The reduction on those ultimates, 10% each pot, is so damn impressive, really. I mean, we talked about how good it could be for Pentanet, but you flip the script, Gravitas with a composition that has so much to offer when they press ultimates too. If it was scary before, those windows in which you can really avoid or execute in between become smaller and smaller, and there's just infinite potential for them to protect and prevail.
Yeah, and I think that the Cloud Drakes are good because it means you can fight more often before that level 16 mark. But I think Gravitas really will benefit from a Cloud Soul more so than the individual Drakes, because you think about what Wukong's playstyle is, what LeBlanc's playstyle is, right? So I think, their ultimates are big, but they're probably not going to fight without them. So you maybe get to fight, a couple of seconds earlier if you Gravitas, but the Soul's going to be huge.
Oh, that's fantastic. He just jumps in straight away, spinning to win. Rogue does a great job to try and flay them away, but that is everything done before even the Cosmic Radiance comes out. The bullet time looks fancy, and they are completely immune to an Ornn ultimate disengage. They take bodies, and they take kills.
Mate, you talk about how to play a team fight perfectly. Well, Gravitas has just done that. Praelis with a huge engage, but it was Parvu on the back end again. This guy has been the superstar this team needs, and now when you're against a Callista, you must fight this one because she has all of the Baron secure in the world. Keep your eyes on Suman. They're going to look to go 5v3.
LeBlanc is going for the flank right now. He's got that number, and he just instantly deletes the support. They turn their attention away from their Baron. They go for a stun on to Get Back, who manages to disengage.
Oh, this is close.
Three-man knock-up. Many members are very low. This is a dream for a Corki right now. The Baron down to 900s. There is a smite available. The team will secure it. Gravitas have it. Biopanther will disengage. And you can see Get Back just sniffing at trouble, noticing so many fatal health bars.
And I love the decision to not fight there for Gravitas. It was a 4v2, but why would you give them any of your Baron buffs? Why would you even risk taking down two more members? They're going to run towards the dragon. They're going to be on Soul Point. So you have this window where there is currently 4 outer turrets available for you to explode this gold lead. I would expect all outer turrets to be going down, for them to be knocking on the door. And PGG, they're praying to the scaling gods that something goes right for them. Suman on this flank, so dangerous, has the flash available, able to pick up Rogue nice and early, Skimmy. And then the rest of the team just on the perfect same page. They get back splash, they get themselves the Baron. That is enough objectives. If I am the Gravitas lineup right now, sure, Trashly falls down, but he's always going to be with his team. I think that is beautifully played by the boys in orange.
So low was Praelis there in that situation, as you say, hanging on to all their buffs. Nautilus using his ultimate in a disengage attempt again. It's felt like the story for them. Keep alive, basically, right? Keep running away, keep preventing it from finding more. Let's stem the bleeding. 7 kills to 4 right now. Yes, that gold lead is starting to build up. It was 1k only moments before, now 4k. Let's try and prevent them getting too much with this Baron buff as they go for what appears to be a 4-1 split.
Yeah, and I mean, leave Parvu with his split pushing build in this side lane. I think it's a good call. Start to hover Suman. If anyone else comes across, they will definitely win it any 2v2 on Summoner's Rift right now, Skimmy, with those duos looking for it. And the turrets are starting to fall. It's now a 5,000 gold lead.
Oh my gosh. What do you do? He's 5-0.
I mean, there's not much you can do, is the honest answer, Skimmy. He is putting on an assassin clinic right now. Don't give him LeBlanc, I guess, is the answer for future teams, because Gravitas right now really trying to make that late season playoff rush.
It just seems like Seoman is just peaking at the right time. They bring in Parbu, and this team is just breaming with confidence, right? They've just got so much to showcase that they aren't afraid of anybody, anytime.
Well, it just seems that they've given themselves an identity. You know, these solo laners are now something to be feared with Parbu on the lineup. Finally having a traditional top laner here. They break the base. 6,000 gold is the lead. Can they get an engagement? No, Ornn's in the bottom lane. They're not even going to look for it, Skimmy. And that Baron buff was used really, really nicely. And Gravitas now definitely have a huge advantage coming into this 25-minute mark.
Well, a successful Baron buff as they go for the reset. A win condition in sight in the most ideal of places, with mid lane now being broken, as you highlight. And, well, it says it already there when you take a look at the gold differences between mid and top. They are just monumental amounts away from their counterparts. 4K difference in top lane alone.
And I'm so confused with what's happening with Pentanet.gg, Skimmy, because we keep going back to it. How was this team set up to win the game? Well, I think they had Corki, who could wave clear for days versus a Kalista Taric. There's no real way you can kill him in the mid lane wave. Why did they just not play the old style of side laning with Praetor, knocking down turrets? They did it once in the bottom lane, but they haven't gone back to the top side play after he got picked up by Parbu. He's been constantly under threat from Praelis. Maybe just not enough protection, and it's a composition thing. But it just looks like this team has really lost its way in how they like to play League of Legends and what made them so successful at the earlier stages of the game. I'm going to check quickly. Like, when was the last time PGG picked themselves up a win? Must have been a while ago.
It was Legacy, and that was... Yeah, it was a while ago. They actually beat Gravitas last time they faced them.
Week 7 was the last time this team was able to pick up a win. So they are now 1 and... They lose this game. 1-5 nearly. 1-4 in their last 5 games played. Definitely on a big slump that I did not expect to see, because generally well-coached teams, they come into their own at the end of the season. But Gravitas, they're starting to look the goods.
And they will have a rough gauntlet run as they go into week 10, going up against Order, Legacy, and then Mammoth. So these games become more and more important, if that wasn't obvious enough already. The engage takes place. Tarek's going to be the one to start things off with, and it's just no response available for the boys of Pentanet. They finally get a bullet time, but a flash again having to be used by that Misfortune to allow it to become accessible. And they just suffer every single time the Cosmic Radiance comes online.
However, that was a good defense. You know, that was win or lose right there. And Praetor able to flash out of the damage, able to turn around and output so much of his own through that bullet time. Now with the Dragon coming up in 30 seconds, you're going to be on map first because Rogue died a little bit earlier. You can maybe get into position. They are priming this top lane wave as well. You have the upgrades coming across from Ornn. It's going to be able to give one over to, I believe, Sully here. And maybe, just maybe, there is still life in this game.
How does Praetor navigate this one? We've talked about it all game, but without the summoners, he has been very, very susceptible. Gravitas with that vision in mid lane will be able to just get the head on towards this Drake, deny again the soul point. And more cooldown reduction becomes the theme of this game.
And they just give it up. That's a really kind of cool call coming across from the Pentanet lineup. Maybe they've finally realized that, hey, guys, if we do nothing and this game goes forever, we probably win it. Like, let's just slow the pace of the game down and not allow this assassin, who is 6-0-1, dictate the terms at which we fight. Let's not phase check into a dragon. It is only the second Cloud Drake of the game. They hadn't shown any kind of propensity to slow down in this one so far, Skimmy. But you know what? Maybe second Air Drake, not worth fighting over. Have a sneaking suspicion, however, this Baron might be.
Absolutely. Now the fact is that Getback's Corki has had his Infinity Edge upgraded as well, so that's 2. That is plenty of damage if they can make it stick. And once again, backing away, not taking any situations unless absolutely required.
And I'm trying to think at what stage of this game would I rather have a Corki than the LeBlanc on my team, because the LeBlanc right now is so greatly accelerated that it's going to be a while, right? Level 16 achieved is big for the Corki, but I think he needs either another BF item, which is too far away, he's not ever going to get there, or a Zeal item. They're also quite expensive at the moment. With this Baron being started up right now, it looks like, I don't know whether he's going to get towards either of those, Skimmy. So he's going to have to fight right now. And right now, I would prefer the LeBlanc.
Absolutely, and Gravitas read the situation with top and bot pushing in mid lane, obviously with the constant vision, with that inhibitor still down. They say, we know what you're trying to do, Pentanet, but we want to force you to us.
And you can see Gravitas actually don't just want the Baron buff, Skimmy. They want the team fight that comes with it. Now, Pentanet and Biopanther were really patient there. They've got a ward just outside the Baron pit, and they can see when they peel on and off. And they're saying, you know what? We will call your bluff. Until we have a package, until we have an additional item, we're actually not going to run in and face check that. We will tickle. We will keep you interested in maybe a mid lane team fight. But we are not going to randomly face check the Baron buff because it didn't lose us the game last time. We're going to back ourselves to be able to stall another one out. Let's continue to see how we go. And Biopanther right now, he's equaling gold. Ignore the fact that it looks like there is a 5,000 gold lead for Parvu, because Biopanther has given everyone else on his team 5,000 gold. Now, the gold lead is still very relevant in that mid lane position. It's still very relevant on the Wukong. But Parvu himself, his job is to dive, it's to do damage. Biopanther's job in this game was to just give his team those items. And now all he has to do is throw out the ultimate, and he's going to be fine.
The ultimate, the protection, the ability to make sure that Praetor can survive, still at least a minute or two away on having that flash up and available. Those walls that once were there before in a very sneaky spot will be cleared, and that is going to force the Lee Sin kick to come on out to check if they are committing to this one. Baron down to half now. The fight, the tension, you can feel it in the air. Baron down to a third. The fight will take place. Bullet time to try and get this Baron on down, and it will be picked up, but not by a smite, that's for sure. Double face makers, and makes the members of Pentanet kiss. Parvu eliminating the most fed member on Pentanet right out of the gate. And now the Bruisers are left to try and defend this Corki. Still desperate for another item, desperate for another power spike. But with 5 healthy members, they delete, they execute, and they can look for a full 5-man ace as they just get kill after kill and run it straight down mid.
And Gravitas just wiped the floor with them. There is no creep wave, however. They're pinging bottom lane. Very smart play coming across Trashly. Probably going to die, but they can still close this game out bottom side. Actually, they can't. I think that they might have just stalled the game out again. Only 10-second death time, as it still is only 32 minutes into the game. They're going to get themselves another inhibitor. But I think, maybe, just maybe, Pentanet GG live on. Oh, and he shot him down.
That's a fantastic trade. That is the dream. If there ever was a dream to get themselves back into this, not only does he get the turret kill, yes, they lose 2 inhibitors, but that shutdown.
And he just picked himself up that completed Zeal item. Mate, if they had that in the fight just beforehand, I think they nearly win it. Now the Corki is finally online. That is a 4-item Corki. You know, you have to take the Molten Edge into account when you look at these. Suman's job is becoming more difficult. Praetor will have flash for the next fight. It looked like it was an all or nothing call for the lineup of Gravitas. And losing out on Suman there certainly is a big factor. And this could also be Cloud Soul picked up because Corki has teleport and Suman does not.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pentanet know that, look, this is our best chance. So much is in the pocket of this LeBlanc.
Don't face
it.
We can kill.
We can kill this very squishy Parvu. We can kill this very squishy composition because they face check in. Trashly going to go for the ultimate and the redemption to survive. And it's only going to be on himself. It could not be worse. Parvu trying to do whatever he can to survive, to get a kill, take somebody to the grave with him. And Praetor again survives. He lives to tell the tale. Surely now they turn their attention towards this one. Surely now they can look to get the soul to end this game. Puma has something to say about it as he's chasing on through, looking to rip their souls apart. But LeBlanc is just unable to find that window to jump in and one-shot people. She's now got the vision and considering if this is the play.
I think she just jumped into the wall there. I think that maybe W is going to be on CD. We'll come back over the wall, not get the burst. That's going to be Cloud Soul. Next dragon is going to be the Elder. It will be in time for both of the inhibitors to be back up and available. And PGG somehow have dragged this game out to a point where their comp is relevant. You cannot base check here. Dragon isn't even up yet. And they have full control over the mid lane wave. Give them Soul. Go end the game. But they will face check, and you can see that Trashley has to use a solo man ult. If Parbu was in that ult, if he had a Skerrick more HP, he probably picks up Praedyth on the back end of this. But it is going to be the shutdown once again going over to the Corki. He's becoming a big, big boy, Skimmy.
He is a very happy chappy at that same notion too. The fact that this game has been drawn out as much as it has, with the last 20 minutes have been so against them. Every single time you feel like that is it, they are out of this one. They have managed to claw it back. Soul point. Baron in 2 minutes. As you say, inhibitors to respawn. They will be able to stabilize this map and look for a potentially even fight.
And every single time they go back and pick up another item, these carries just grow exponentially stronger because they have multiplicative builds. The crit builds coming across means that the stats just mean more. You're talking about the huge crit capability of a Corki who hits you for magic damage, you got to remember, and the Misfortune, which bullet time is able to crit. So now that they're getting towards that 80% crit mark,
yeah,
it just becomes so difficult to be able to navigate these team fights. They will two-hit the carries of the Gravitas lineup, and this is a very carry-centric build from Parbu. If he gets on there with the Taric ultimate, he's going to tear them apart. But if he does not, like, look at what just happened to Praedyth.
Absolutely. Already down to half. And Taric isn't known for being any Soraka, that's for sure. He's not going to be able to heal that Wukong up that easily at all. Going to be forced to go away to a camp, try and get some clear in that regard, and try and get himself topped up, because if he backs away, Penitent just finds so much more tempo to really execute on this map.
And you cannot stress what this means. If either of these teams want to maintain the race versus Avant Gaming, they need to be the game ahead, because they don't have the head-to-head against Avant. So really, Gravitas, to be able to continue their run towards the playoffs with Parbu, need to pick this up. That will take them to even. If you're Pensanet.gg, you need to maintain that one-game lead, and a win here would be able to do this. Any team you're in the playoff race against, every time you win versus them, it's like the double whammy. It's like you've picked up actually 2 wins because you set them a further win back.
This game definitely feels like it is on a knife's edge, as you say. The ramifications of what this result would mean, and just the stress that is involved now of them being ever so cautious with their movement as to what they want to do, realizing that, look, hey, we were so far ahead in this game now, and we are definitely seeing Pentanet ramp things up. How do we do this? Do we wait for a Baron fight, or do we just go in with some form of conviction and force this fight now? Because that's what Pablo is looking like doing. Praedyth is on the flank. He decides to go against it in the end, keeping Pentanet in check, not really revealing that they are feeling stressed at all.
Yeah, and I'm very surprised they haven't sent Human back to the side lane. This guy still is a 9-1-1 LeBlanc, still has legitimate one-shot potential. They've finally got him on a flank here. They are all grouped up.
They start the Baron. Pentanet now start to funnel in towards this pit. The angles are there. It's whether or not Gravitas can find it. Scary situation now.
Creep waves, however, are pushing the PGG base, so they need to be decisive here. They get control of mid lane, but look at the top lane wave. Bottom lane is also building. They don't have forever, and Praedyth is on the flank.
Instantly, Kalista going in with the ultimate, and that is massive because that's going to combine up with Taric, and they're all so damn low! Praedyth finds the first one onto Corki, and they get both the carries already! They do the job! Kalista finds value, and instantly any threat that Pentanet had threatened to get themselves this late into a 40-minute game is wiped off the floor, and Gravitas will look at victory.
And it just turns out if you give them 3 divers, if you give them the Taric, that they will be able to find the one flank. It took a while, but Gravitas looking to close this one out.
Gravitas are the team to fear right now. They take W's from anybody in this league. They are not a pushover. They are a team to close themselves out into playoffs.
And the playoff race looks very interesting now, Skimmy, because I would have said going into this race, this weekend, that the race was over. It looked nearly locked. You would say that Order's going to be in there and Pentanet.gg is going to be in there. Well, a different Avant Gaming showed up. They have been able to pick up the win versus Pentanet.gg. And then when you look at what Gravitas has been able to do, they pick up a win versus the Direwolves. That one was crucial. They then dropped to Chiefs, but it was competitive. And now they have been able to finally get that game across the line. Parbu has breathed new life into this team. It's very hard when they talk to you at the same time. Parbu breathed new life into this team, and I'm really impressed.
I am as well. I think definitely as a fan of the OPL, quite hard to know who to go for now in that 5th spot, because every single week we are seeing different performances come in and come out, and changes always a mix. So hats off to Gravitas. They survive as long as they could to not let Pentanet have that scaling advantage. They do the damage and they get the job done. And at the end of the day, that is a fantastic result for them. We're going to jump to a quick break, and when we return, another game for the Super Week.